Have I ever bought a house? Do I live on rent? Do I even know the pride that comes with a home ownership? Why am I inherently against property ownership? Is not a house biggest social security for an average Indian? Is not home a prudent financial investment? Hey, wait. Why am I asking such silly questions to self? Don't I know the answers? Or is it just a clickbait strategy for the audience that follows me up? But no, these are not my questions. I am Ravi Sinha and these are the oft repeated questions that I get in comments on my video with YouTube channel. My mailbox is also full of such questions. People often wonder that why am I wasting my storytelling skills like this? Is not it a non-issue? They ask. At this moment, I am only talking about the audience that genuinely has these questions in their minds. I am not at all addressing the vested interests like the builders and brokers who are more of jilted lovers than critics with my brutal honest take on the world of investments in general and real estate investment in particular. After all, I am advocating something that is counterintuitive for a vast majority of Indians. Traveling to Mumbai recently, I came across someone at airport who introduced himself as a regular follower of my YouTube channel. After pleasantries, I was not at all surprised with his first question. Do I live on rent? Well, let me admit, I do understand that many a times people think I am talking against home ownership as an investment because I can't afford it myself. So I replied calmly, no, I have my own house. This must be your inherited parental property. This gentleman had an element of doubt in his eyes now. I said, I have bought it a few years back. Now, the surprise turned into confusion on the face of the person. And then he asked, can I ask you a personal question? I nodded and anticipated his question well in advance. He wished to assess whether it is my dissatisfaction with the bought property that has made me so very bitter with the property world at large. You seem to be against all the builders, even the good ones, he said. Well, I have dissatisfaction with one of the properties that I bought, but not the next one, as one bad experience made me wiser. I smiled with this answer and felt the other person had by then become totally confused. He bombarded with a set of questions now. The tone, as expected, changed as well. You have yourself bought the property. Why do you advise against property buying? Why do you say it is a bad investment decision? Why do you say real estate has lowest return on investment? Is not this hypocrisy? Are you deliberately trying to be controversial to stand out in the world of video content creation? I anyway was enjoying this discussion but wanted to cut it short and kill the suspense by now. My boarding time had started by then and hence I said, listen, I have bought more than one property but that is part of my risk mitigation strategy. I don't want to put all my eggs in one investment basket. And hence real estate for me is part of my diversification strategy to mitigate market risk. I do understand that real estate returns are always poor when compared with other asset class in general and financial assets in particular. I genuinely believe in what I claim publicly and I don't make money in being brutal honest. It's rather the other way around. Since I also do brand rating of real estate companies as a real estate journalist. Well, not sure whether I could clear confusion of this gentleman or not. But I explained him that in a country where the stock market is not as regulated as in some of the matured global markets and savvy chairperson's role itself has element of doubt, I take real estate as one of the asset classes that does not figure at the top of my financial goals of investment and financial freedom. And of course, I do maintain that real estate is not the best asset class to invest. One should go for it after reaching to a stage of affordability and having other investment products in the kitty. बिजनेस की बात तो सब करते हैं, लेकिन क्या मीडिया का रोल महज कंपनीज के प्रॉफिट और लॉस अकाउंट का हिसाब रखना रह गया है? कितनी इन्वेंट्री सेल हुई, कितना बिजनेस में आया इन्वेस्टमेंट, इन सब की बहस के बीच पूछता है आम आदमी, इसमें मेरे लिए क्या है? कहीं ऑल्टरनेटिव मीडिया भी इंस्टीट्यूशनल मीडिया की तरह गॉसिपिंग करते हुए अपनी क्रेडिबिलिटी तो नहीं खोता जा रहा है? जाने अनजाने कहीं हर कंटेंट क्रिएटर बिल्डर की पीआर प्रोपेगेंडा का हिस्सा तो नहीं बनता जा रहा है? कौन करेगा हाशिए पर खड़े आम आदमी के काम की बात? सब्सक्राइब कीजिए ट्रैक टू रियलिटी यूट्यूब चैनल, यहां होती है आपके मतलब की बात. There is one more issue that I always try best to clear when someone approaches me and refers to me as a real estate influencer. No, I am not a real estate influencer. Neither do I aspire to be one. I do understand that this is the age of being YouTube influencer, but I'm a real estate journalist and I wish to be seen so. As a real estate journalist, I am entitled to my critical take on the sector. More importantly, the world of real estate influencers in India is quite rigged, with most of them influence peddling and having conflict of interest. Anyone who follows any property influencer in India knows where lies the perception bias. I have absolutely no conflict of interest with my public view that I share across the media spectrum. I just share my experiences so that others can learn from my decade-long experience in the property market instead of learning after making mistakes themselves. It is just part of my consign as a real estate journalist. This is a world with full of sharks, builders, brokers and banks, all ready to pounce upon you and make you a consumer that is debt-ridden. And of course, the government too is a party to it. Who would not like their pound of flesh in your hard-earned money? They want you to pay in terms of GST and stamp duty. A person with debt and responsibilities only takes orders and never questions the unreasonable terms being imposed, isn't it? A free soul is also a restless soul, one that can raise many questions in due course. Unfortunately, financial wisdom is not shared in our education system. And in an ecosystem that celebrates a rat race of who is earning more and who can flaunt more, a piece of real estate is what constitutes as a real asset to give a false sense of ownership and pride. An average Indian, more often than not, flaunts his only wealth in a home as a symbol of having arrived in life, isn't it? And so, what I always try to teach is the fact that don't be a debt-ridden real estate owner who slogs the initial 10 years of his professional life to save the down payment for a house and then spends the next 20 years to pay it off. In the wealth inequality of Indians, you only end up being another number of houses being sold. But this number has actually pushed you to the lower end of the pyramid, and several compromises in life is your interest cost plus financial stress. You better pick your poison wisely. I just rest my case. Thanks for watching.